Hi everybody, this is Patrick from Dougie Dashboard. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to use this feature here that says View Invoice Totals and Payments Received. So when someone pays an invoice at your business, you're going to want to be marking down a related financial entry. You can even mark down two financial entries if the first payment that comes is a deposit and the second payment is the remainder. However, sometimes this doesn't happen. Sometimes you might forget to mark a payment down, and this little feature here will help you make sure that all your invoice totals match up with your payment totals. So let's just go back and look at January here and see if we're how our invoice situation looks. We're going to go there, and here's the pop-up. So right here, we'll see the invoice due dates, statuses, who the invoice is for, the total amount of the invoice, as well as the payments received and if it was paid in full. So we can see right here, these three are marked as paid, and this last one here for Carol Sanders is marked as overdue. Now, on the Baxter invoice for Stephen August, it was $240 total, and we have a payment from January to January 23rd for 240. And so there's this little green check. Looks good. Down here we have an invoice, January 31st invoice for Philip Jones, his two dogs Bella and Daisy. It was for $400. It looks like we accepted a $100 payment on the 4th, which was most likely a deposit payment, and then he paid up the rest on a little bit late here, March 29th, but it was paid in full. Now, we marked this invoice up here as paid for Bob Appleton's Dog Ranger for 150, but we have no payment listed there. So we do remember, oh, shoot, I actually was supposed to mark down a payment. I forgot to. What we'll do is we'll click on View here. And if you're watching this video in the future, there's going to be a button somewhere on this page that will let you create the payment right away from this screen. But we're going to click View here, which is going to open up that invoice. And we're going to say, oh, yeah, we marked it as paid, but we never marked it down as a payment. So we go here, add the payment. We remember that Bob wrote us a check on the 10th for $150. So that was a payment. It was for boarding. He paid us with a check. Well, let's write down personal check. We're not going to send a receipt. We would have done that before, but we're going to save that financial entry. So now the invoice has a financial entry. There's no balance due. And if we go back up here to here, the page, and we click refresh, you're going to notice that now it's been paid in full and the payment has been marked down. So it looks like Carol Sanders has not paid us for that January 31st one. There's no payment on file, and we remember that she hasn't paid us. So maybe we want to send her an email or something. We can click here on that January 31st, and that would pop up an email that we can send her a reminder right there that we need to get that money on file. So what you do there is you just click on the due date, and it opens up an email to that client, and you can say, hey, excuse me, your invoice hasn't been paid yet. Please pay us as soon as possible. Now we can also use this feature to look at future invoices to see how people are doing on invoice payments or invoice deposits. So let's look at April here of the coming month. We go on view there. And so we have two invoices that are right now due in April. We have Bill Bradley's for Alice, which is $300. It looks like we accepted a $100 deposit on the 15th. Let's just look at that. And it says, yep, on the March 15th, we took a $100 payment. And it says, this is Alice's boarding in April. A $100 deposit is due by March 15th. So nice. He paid us $100. We have $200 remaining on this invoice, and that's good to see. And then we have what up here? Steven Johnson. Now, let's say Steven Johnson's just a great guy and he pays us. Let's go look at that invoice right away. We're going to go here and it says Steven Johnson. It's a $100 deposit is due by March 17th. Let's say Steven is just a stand-up guy and he pays us the full 240. So we're going to go here, add a financial record. Let's say he paid it on the 25th. He pays us 240, the whole thing, and we're going to not put any payment method or transaction. We'll say April boarding, so we can kind of keep track of where our finances are at. He paid us with Venmo. We're going to mark the invoice as paid, so we check that. And so now that is good to go. There we go. The invoice has a $0 balance due. It's paid. There's a $240 payment. And when we go back to our little calendar here, our little table and refresh, you're going to see that the invoice is paid in full because we have the $240 payment that was made on March 25th to pay off that 240. So that is how you use this feature. It's going to change a little bit over the next few weeks and months, so this video might be a bit outdated, but this is how you can go through your invoices to make sure that your invoice totals match up with your payments. If you were one of those businesses that used the old deposits feature, which we don't no longer support, you'll see a little, let's see if I can find one. You'll see a little check mark or exclamation point next to these totals. Nope, there's none there. The deposit feature was discontinued because it just causes too many issues with bookkeeping. There you go. You can see this little eye here. If you click on here, it'll tell you the invoice has a total of 463. This invoice had a deposit, which was a feature that no longer exists, for 463 plus an after deposit of 100. So that if don't worry about this if you're watching this, but if you do see that little I check mark, click on that. It'll show you the value of the invoice, because if you had a $200 invoice with a $100 deposit, it showed the invoice as a $100 value, but in all reality, you should have $200 in your bank account, $100 for the deposit and $100 for the payment. And so if you see the I, click on it, and then I would suggest editing the invoice, getting rid of the deposit, and adding a financial transaction for that deposit. That's this video for today. If you have any questions, info@doggydashboard.com. Otherwise, have a great day.